episode of GitHub Copilot. In today's episode, let us deep dive a little more on the chat feature of Copilot. This feature is available in the preview mode right now, and it supports Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code. So let us see some of the scenarios with the chat, the code suggestion, just like how we have the code suggestion with the Copilot, how the chat can enhance the code suggestions, and how to explain the code or translate the code from one technology to the other technology, or identifying a security vulnerability and recommending a fix for the same, and performance tuning of the code, refactoring of modules, unit test generation, bug fixes. There are multiple other scenarios you can drill down on the chat areas, but today's demo, let us focus on these listed features of chat. Without further ado, let us move back to our ID. So we have a Visual Studio Code ID. Let us start with the installation itself. Go to extensions. I will start installing Copilot first. It's looking for Copilot, so let me install Copilot. Done. And I need this one. It's in the preview stage, Copilot Chat. Let us go and install it. Cool. So we have the Copilot ready down, as it's already signed in using my login accounts. You may need to sign in using your account to activate the Copilot, and the chat is available here as an icon, so you can enable that as well. So let me start with a few of the samples. Let me open chat as well. So we'll start with the initial one, the code suggestion angle. So let us ask Copilot, define a block manager class for managing file upload and download to assure blob storage. So this is what I need. Define two methods for uploading and downloading files. So given a detailed requirement, let me see how the Copilot chat is going to help me get the code piece. So as I am in C#, here the .cs file is identified. It's taken a block manager class through C#, and it's used the NuGet packages to manage the upload and download. So you can see that it's imported the required, whatever the library is required, defined the class and the constructor which gives the service client and container name, and also upload file and download file. So we can just click here or just go for further actions. I need this code to be available here, so just clicking on this icon will take it to the IDE. So I have added the code snippet. Once it's available, even you can use the Copilot for prompting further. For example, I need the connection string from a environment variable. So I can prompt here, add a method to read the connection string from environment variables. So the Copilot start giving some suggestions. So it's went to the public, blob manager, and the client definition. So this is not appropriate for me. I need a method for reading the connection string. So let me prompt it. I need a public string get connection string. This is what I needed. So now as I prompted, it's turned out to be the proper code. It's returning the environment variable connection string. I may need to touch upon this variable name to get it. Once it's available, instead of adding here, as a parameter, I can't invoke this method. So it won't be a nice idea to invoke here in the constructor, but you can define it in a proper way. So this is a code generation areas. Now let us move to the explanation aspect. So you have a policies class here. If you want to get an explanation of what this class is doing, you can go and use the slash commands. There are set of slash commands available with the Copilot Chat. I am asking to explain this code to me. So it's start explaining me. It's a C# class defined for policies, and there are two constants, admin and tenant policies, and all these details are explained in detail. So explanation of any code base, you can take the help of Copilot Chat. Then let us move to a translation. So this is in C#. Let me ask the Copilot to translate my code into, let me go for Python. So the Python equivalent of this one. So it's taken the initial code from here. I haven't mentioned which code needs to be translated. It's taken the blob manager and it's got translated this one. Or I can select the code saying this is a COBOL Hello World program. So I want to convert this one. Convert my code into C#. So it's a pure Hello World program in COBOL. So it's understand it's written in COBOL and it's translated into C#. You can see that normal Hello World application with a console, right? And it gives, the beauty of Copilot Chat is it's not only give the code suggestion, it's explain what it's understood by our conversation, and once the code suggestion is there, it gives the more details down what exactly this code is going to do, any improvements required, that also coming in the explanation of Copilot Chat. So let us move a little more into the security aspects. Here we have a data access layer code where I'm going to directly hit the database with a select command and passing the input as it is. So it's supposed to be through a command parameter, otherwise it's a SQL injection. So let us ask Copilot to understand whether we have any security issues with my code. So select the code and ask the Copilot, what are the security concerns with my code? So Copilot is thinking and it start giving us the explanation. So it's understand there is a SQL injection vulnerability and this method construct using the SQL query too. Even it's explaining what you mean by SQL injection attack. It's mainly the SQL query is concatenate with user input directly. That's the issue. This can allow the attacker to inject malicious SQL code. So it's not only identifying the security concern, it's explaining what exactly the security concern and the mitigation code. Here it's defined the command parameters and rewritten the SQL command using that parameters. You can directly replace it and see it. Here it is replaced with command parameters. So is it a simple kind of code here? Let us move an Angular piece. Here I have multiple security issues. Let me see whether Copilot Chat will be able to identify it. What are the security issues with my code? So as you can observe, it start identifying multiple issues. Cool. And it gives some mitigation step also. So there is a cross-site scripting inputs are used here. There is a direct alert is used and JavaScript can be embodied and there is a regular expression. This is the issue prone regular expression, and you have a parameter pollution. The parameters directly used in concatenation here, query angle, and the HTTP is insecure because the search is using the query search. All issues are captured here, and also is given some mitigations. How to sanitize the input and regular expression validation. For each of the 4 issues, there is a mitigation plan, and the code snippet started here. This query input, how you can sanitize the query input, the details also specified. The fix is given for only one angle. The remaining things, if you want, you can prompt Copilot to suggest the fix for this cross-site script, how to rewrite it. So it's able to identify multiple security issues, and you can prompt for the further fixes for that. So let us move to the performance angle. So I have some codes here. If you look at this code base, where I'm just looping through 5000 iterations and concatenating the string. It's a simple issue, but when it comes to a bigger iteration or the concatenation of multiple string, it's not advised to go with a pure string concatenation. Instead, it should use the string builder for concatenating this kind of effort. So let us ask Copilot, is there any performance issue with my code? So Copilot is trying to get it. Cool. It's able to identify the issue. It's explained in detail what the issue and how to replace with a string builder. So you can replace this area with a string builder. That will help you to get a proper performance. Even it gives some kind of details in terms of how it will modify the performance or how it will inject the performance angle. So let us move to another example. I have one more on the performance area. Let me take this one. I hope I just kept it in a separate place. Okay. So overall, it's able to improve the performance. That's a main angle. So we can check it this as well. If there is a performance issue with this code, it's normally for loop and for each loop. These two construct how to use it. So let us see any performance issues with my code. Cool. It's able to identify multiple issues, and the for loop, for each loop is replaced with the for loop in the last segment. Here it's a for each that is replaced with the for loop, and the initialization angle is the first capacity one. So any kind of performance angle, if you have issues, you can identify it and get a suggestion on the fixes. But as a developer, apply your knowledge and validate whether these fixes really address your requirement or not. Let us look on the refactoring angle. Okay, I have one if loop. There is a multiple if loops in one of the methods. So let us ask whether Copilot is able to refactor this. How to refactor my code. So if you have a multiple if statement, better to replace with a switch statement. That's a refactoring suggestion coming from Copilot. You can directly replace this one with this code base. Or here we have another one, create seller. Internally it's using multiple functionalities, verification of the seller name, email and everything, and again adding the seller to the context, saving the changes. So let us see how to refactor this one. refactor the code into multiple methods. Think about this as a very complex module with multiple lines of code. You can ask for Copilot to refactor the code into multiple methods. So the beauty is the created methods will have internal linkages. If you look at it, the Copilot created 4 different methods. Create seller, which calls validate required fields. So the validation is separated into a different method altogether. Now this one is invoked here. After validation, there is a seller access settings or verification that is done as a separate method, and addition, adding and saving the changes to the context, is called directly from here. So it's refactored into multiple methods and establish the connection or relationship between each of these methods properly, and it's used the complete context of your code base itself. So this is how the refactoring can work. It can replace the existing with a proper refactoring aspects, or refactor into multiple method or chunk into multiple methods to improve the maintainability and performance of the code base. So let us look into the next aspect, the unit test generation. That is one of the things we specified. So if I have a simple sort array method here, if I want to create a unit test using current Copilot version, normally we go for a prompt based unit testing. But here you can have a unit test creation using the / command. You have / command for multiple operations. Test will generate the unit test. So /test, let's start writing the unit test. And if you have a defined unit test framework, it will use that one. As it's a C# code, it's taken Visual Studio unit test framework here. And it's came up with a multiple unit test cases. One is for the descending order, negative values, sort array with duplicates, single element, empty arrays. So it covers most of our boundary conditions, negative and positive scenarios. Even here also you can prompt Copilot to create unit test, just like add unit test for the, let me go for another method, performance method, perf method 2, or you can just simply highlight this one and ask add unit test for the my code base. So the prompt based unit testing is also possible. Let's start writing the unit test cases, or you can just use /test to generate the unit test. And there are different / commands like explain, fix. If you have any issues, you can fix it and clear the session. Everything is possible here. So you can explore this / commands. Let me take you to the last one, the bug fix angle. So I just take you to another bug fix element. Bugs check. So this is one thing. I have fruits. So here if you noticed, I have an enum colors and another enum fruits. But I defined a fruits array, the enum array, with different values. The values are not exist as part of fruits. So if in case I feel there is a bug or something, highlight, you can invoke the Copilot this way as well. There is a context menu available. You can ask for explain this, fix this, generate documentation, generate test. So I am going for fix this. So let me see what kind of fix. It's again invoke the /fix command here. If you observe that this part is replaced with the enum values, pear and orange. Pear and orange is exist, so it's replaced. If you feel this fix is fine, you just click on accept. So that issue is replaced with the proper code which fix the element. Now I need some documentation for this. Let me try it out. Generate the documents. So /doc command is there. You can use that one. So on top of the main method, it's added this method demonstrate the enums in C#, some kind of explanation for this entire block. So you can create this kind of documentation using the Copilot one. So again, there is a test generation and the explanation angle. This we checked already using the Copilot Chat. Exactly the same feature is coming here as well. And when you work with the code, sometimes you may have some kind of issues coming, functional bugs. There also you can invoke the Copilot for support. Let me go for a days D and here I am giving something else, Monday. So it's a route. So there is a conflict here altogether. So I can go into the Copilot angle this way and go for a fix issue, or just highlight and move to the quick. We have these two options: fix using Copilot or explain using Copilot. Let me take the explanation. It's went for an explanation, what's the issue and what it's expecting. So if I go for a fix, I can go and see what kind of fix it's suggested. It's instead of days, it's suggested constant because MON is not part of my enum. Better to define it as a constant and define a value. So I can go ahead and accept it. So these all are some of the features of Copilot chat feature of Copilot, which is in preview right now. But there are much more. You can use any kind of coding activities, explore it. It's in the preview stage. Read the terms before you use it. Thank you.